There we live.
Alrighty.
Hi everyone, welcome to our Building the Ball Now show. And tonight we're gonna have our very special guest, our friend Rosie here from Vegas. So if you guys don't know Rosie, Rosie is a mindset coach, spiritual grief divination, and
Manifestation. Yeah, same thing.
helps women with manifesting their dreams, elevate their consciousness, and embrace their spirituality. So basically, she's in personal development, right? And if you're in business, you need to hear from Rosie because she's going to help you with personal development. So
She's also married and is a mom, and we've created a great relationship over the years, and we're just so thankful that you could be here with us today. So thank you, Rosie.
Thank you guys. You guys are amazing. Thank you. I love being here. Thank you.
Awesome.
yeah, super excited to have you tonight because I know you're super busy too, right? With Todd, my boy Todd, the kids.
I got 50 kids. Yeah. We were pretty busy. 50 kids. Yeah.
Right. So for our audience, I guess like who are you? Like where do you live and how did you get started with your business?
So, okay. Thank you for having me. Once again, I appreciate you guys. Let's see where to start. So, just FYI, I don't have the kids, but okay. Um, let's see. I'm originally from LA. I was born and raised in LA. And lived in the Bay Area and moved out to Vegas during COVID. Well, actually, not during COVID, before COVID in 2019. And been here for 4 years. And I started the whole mindset coaching and manifestation, grief coach, pretty much little by little. I started dabbling into Reiki and Reiki healing. During COVID, I felt like this tug that I needed to get and connect with my spirituality. It was one of those things that I think we all went through, right? During COVID. Like it was a pause, for everybody. Um, and I did that during COVID. We moved here in 2019. And yeah, I think more so than none. One thing led to another, and it started from Reiki, and then it started from tarot reading. I don't know if you guys, I do tarot reading as well. But I've always been a tarot reader. That's kind of weird too. But I started at a very young age, pretty much getting into tarot reading. One of the things that scared me, one, because coming from a Catholic background and tarot reading, that's a big no-no. You know what I mean? Like you can't really dabble into that type of stuff. And I hid my gift for a very, very long time. And it wasn't during till COVID that it was that tug that I needed to get into that spirituality. It was just like this tug that I just kept pulling me towards spirituality, and I have to do this, and it just pulled and pulled till finally I was like, all right, like let me do this, because it was really it was getting to a point where it's kind of what they say, right? When you kind of like prevent yourself from opening up to your gift, like the universe comes and just brings it to you, like God, universe, whatever you want, whatever people want to reference that to. But it's like when it's your purpose, you're always gonna get to that point where it's like, okay, all right, God, like I'm ready, and I think that's where I was at. And back, I guess, rewind to a couple of years prior to that, in 2018, my brother passed away.
Mm.
And I think that was when I hit rock bottom spiritually, kind of, he was 23 years old, and I hit rock bottom, like completely rock bottom. Like
You didn't believe in God anymore, or you didn't just believe in spiritual, like nothing?
I lost sense of myself. I
Mhm.
lost who I was. I didn't believe in anything. I didn't believe in myself. I didn't believe in nothing anymore. Like it was like losing a sibling. It's like the worst pain that you can feel, you know? Um, I know that people, say that, oh, every grief is different, and it is. But he was my little brother. I mean, we were 12 years apart. So if anything, I raised him. I raised him. I saw him grow up. I saw him become a father. I saw him become a husband. I saw him. So for me to have someone with me 24/7, all the time, every day, like, it was anybody that knew us and that knows me knew that my brother was always with us, always with me. So having that, God, take that from me. Like, I was very resentful. I was like, why did you take, why? Like, what did he do to you? What did he do? And one of the things that I never did ask God, I was like, why did it happen? It was more like, why did you take him? It wasn't why did it happen. It was more like, why did you? It was more of an aggressive energy towards God. And I pretty much hit rock bottom, like I said, emotionally, spiritually. And it's crazy because my brother would always tell me, he'd be like, you're like the Dr. Phil, of the family, and you're this and when he passed away, I basically shut everybody out, and I dwelled into this whole spirituality. Like, okay, what happens after this? Where do people go? Where am I gonna go? Where did he go? And that, like I said, that basically led to the whole mindset, because in order for me to change the person who I used to be, I had to change my mind. I had to change my mindset. I had to, like, it was like great. It was like, okay, like, I don't, it was like a spiritual awakening. You know what I mean? Like, it was a spiritual awakening where I was forced to become somebody else. Like, it was like God was like, I'm sorry. I know this is going to hurt, but in order for you to grow, in order for you to evolve, this is what I need to do. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
For sure.
And that's exactly what happened. Like, the way I grew mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, it was like from night to day. Like, even people was like my friends were like, oh my God, like, ever since Mario passed, because his name was Mario, ever since Mario passed away, like, you've changed. And in a way, I felt like, man, like, how, like, I don't think I have. But it was very noticeable where people were like, what are you doing? And, then after that, Todd basically was like, he was working, working at Oakland PD, and he was like ready to, retire. And he was like, where should we go? And I was like, I don't know. Like, what do you mean? And the reason why I think he asked me was because where my brother passed away, it was around the corner from my house. So every day driving by, like, God, was wanting me to change, wanting me to grow, but just, I couldn't. It was like something preventing me from, because I was always passing by, and just, it was,
Be reminded.
yeah, like, it was cellular. It was in my bones where I just couldn't shake it. I couldn't shake it. So he was like, like, let's, where should we go? Where do we go? And out of all places, we're like, let's go to Vegas. Like, I was like, we're like, what? And it's crazy that my whole spiritual awakening within 2018, 2019, and 2020 happened. And it all happened during COVID. It all happened. It was like I was meant to be here in Vegas. Like, it's like I found my purpose in Vegas. I found who I am here. I found the people that I connect with. I found my tribe. And it's like, you know what? Like, out of all places, right? People be like, what, Vegas? Like, Vegas. Like,
We feel the same thing. Yeah.
and And yeah, like I said, we moved out here in 2019 after the whole thing that happened. And during COVID, it was like that pause where everybody had a pause, right? It was like, if you're going to go into COVID being somebody else, you better be somebody else after COVID. Like you
Oh
can't be
yeah,
the same person. Does that make sense?
can't be the same person after COVID
It
because
kind
you're
of
just home.
forced people to get out of their comfort zone.
It forced a lot of us, and it's crazy that a lot of us, well, for me, I'm speaking me, it took me a while because I was like, no, like I like who I am. Like I like my friends. I like who I hang out with. I like my routines. I like partying. I like drinking. I like smoking. I like doing all of that. And God was like, no, sorry, girl. That's not what I have planned for you, you know? And it was when I was like, put my hands up and I was like, all right, okay, like I get it. Like I hear you. And when I say the whole spiritual, awakening and everything changes from your mind, your body, your soul, even the things that you eat now, even the drink, like you don't even want to drink anymore because it feels like it's not like it's not with you. You're not vibrating on that level anymore. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And but the old me, I was like, no, like I still want to do that. But it's like it got to the point where it was making me sick, like literally making me sick. And I was like, wow, like, okay, like what do you have in store for me? And a lot of prayer, a lot of meditation, a lot of self work, a lot of journaling. It brought me to, all right, this is what I'm going to do. So I connected with a mindset coach that taught me hypnotherapy, taught me emotional freedom tapping, which that is a great technique for somebody that is, stagnant or feeling type stuck energy, because EFT, you basically tap on your 8 meridian points, right? So it kind of like unclogs your energies, just by doing this tapping stuff. And I started tapping away. I would tap like morning, day, night, tap, 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 tap. And it helped me. Hypnotherapy helped me. Like I would, hypnotize myself. I would listen to all these, I would make my own hypnotized sounds, my hypnotize me, so I can hypnotize myself while I sleep, like my own voice. What I wanted to reprogram my mindset, I had to do the work. And here I am. I think and that's what I want to be able to, like I have my clients and I help them. I teach them what helped me. What helped me, because I know it's possible. I know it is. I know a lot of people, a lot of my clients come to me like, I don't know what it is. I feel stuck, and it's all, I'm not a healer. I just help them with the techniques that helped me. Does that make
Got it.
sense?
Yeah.
Makes
Okay,
sense.
makes sense.
Yeah, we have a very similar story because I lost my sibling too, back in was it,
Oh, no.
yeah 2013.
She was 24.
Oh my God. Like that's like the same age as my brother
Right.
almost.
Very traumatizing, right? Because you're
It's
losing someone at a
horrible.
young age. Because I was growing up, right? You or at least for me in my head, hey, we're gonna be 80 and then we pass away, right?
And they were
Yeah.
very too. They were very
And then you
close.
see your sister sick or your brother, passing
My,
away at
yeah.
23, 24 years old. And you're like, what the hell just happened?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
shocking.
And I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't know that. I think did you tell me, Vera? I think you did. Vera, did you tell me? Thank you.
I think
I'm not
so.
sure.
I don't know. I forget.
Yeah, oh my God. Yeah, no, it's horrible. It's horrible. And being the oldest, were you older than her? Yeah, right?
Yeah,
You were older
oldest,
than her.
older.
So
Mhm.
it's like this, like you grew up to protect, right? You grew up to be their protector, to cater to them, to take care of them, to You know, there was nothing that my brother didn't want that he didn't get with me. My mom, I don't know, but with me, it was like there was nothing that he didn't want that he didn't get. And it's like, man, like I thought we were gonna grow old. I thought we were gonna raise our kids together, and now like I have his daughter with me, his oldest.
Right.
Um, he had three at 23. He started pretty young, so he had three kids, and I think that also was that, you know, that awakening that I have to change, not just for my kids, but now for his kids.
Yeah.
Um, it was a total different feeling. Like it's kind of like with your kids, it's like, my kids, like, you know, like they got their dad, you know, whatever. Like, but when he passed away, I felt like this deeper sense of like,
Responsibility.
yeah,
Yeah.
like, all
They were
right,
having trauma on their own, right? Without having
yeah,
their dad. Yeah.
Yeah. Plus,
yeah,
they're a provider too.
Yeah.
yeah,
So I mean, that's a big deal.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, it
He was
it is.
23, and then his kids were probably like babies at that time, right?
Yeah, his oldest was 7 and his youngest was 1. He had just turned 1 a month prior. And then his second oldest was 3.
Wow.
So, yeah, they were babies. And I have conversations with them, um, the 2 youngest, and they don't remember him. And it's so sad because like they do remember him by pictures because my mom has the house full of my brother's pictures. Um, but with the oldest, that's a different, you know, because she remembers him, you know, like, you know, when we decided to bring her on to adopt her, uh I was like, okay, like I have to heal because I was healing myself, but I have to help her heal as well. So it's kind of like, you know, we were both healing at the same, and we still are, you know.
Yeah, it's a process.
It's a process, and that's and that's where I became a grief coach. And it's crazy because um people are like, "Oh my god, like you've gone through so much." And it's like, if I can get out of that black hole that I was in during my brother's passing, where I felt like there was nobody around to like get me out of that hole, like it is possible, you
Yeah.
know. And I help, and it's not like, oh, I know all of it. I've been there, done. No, I'm healing with my clients at the same time. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
So
for
You
I'm
actually go
relating. I'm relating to them. I'm talking to them. I'm nurturing them because at that time I wanted somebody to take care of me, nurture me. But it's crazy because I did get that. I just didn't receive it. Does that make
Mm,
sense? I
yeah.
didn't want to receive it. I didn't want to talk about, I couldn't even talk about my brother's passing for a long time
sure.
because I would start laughing. I would start like, you know, like laughing, you know, like because I didn't want to cry, or I would just change the subject.
Yeah.
And
That was your way of dealing with it at that time.
it
You were
was,
this was actually the same way. He couldn't cry.
You know how it felt? It felt like there's a knife like stabbing me on the side. That doesn't go away. It feels weird. Like
yeah,
grief is
it
very like
still
weird
does.
and dark.
Yeah.
Yeah, it still does. But see, and I'm not coaching you, Luis, by any means right now. But you know, like you have to process it, and grief is a process. You know, there's ups and downs, but the thing about it is that we have to acknowledge the feeling, receive it, take it in, and be okay with it. Because if we don't receive it, we don't take it in, and we're not okay with it, we're not going to grow from it. We're not going to come out of that. And that is one of the things that I've done. I mean, it's 6 years. It was 6 years on the 4th of this month, and it still feels like yesterday.
Six?
6 years.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
It still feels like yesterday.
Oh yeah. I mean, ours was
10
10
years.
years.
Yeah.
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 Because I had baby Lewis a week after she passed. Our son.
What?
Yeah. So
Oh,
they cross paths. We
so
are
I mean,
crazy.
we can get into that conversation right now, but do they have a lot of similarities?
I don't know. I think our youngest is more like Michelle, right? Your mom told me she looks more like Michelle. But I know, so my crazy story is when I actually had Lewis in the same hospital that his sister Michelle died. And I was close to Michelle too. I was actually really close to her. And I had told her when I was pregnant that I wanted her in the room when I was delivering. And when I was delivering Lewis, well, when I was in labor, they gave me, I think it was Pitocin or something. But I
Mm-hmm.
started hallucinating and she was there in front of
Yep.
me.
Yep.
And I told him and he ran out of the room because he got scared.
That is so cute. Same thing happened to me. Same
Oh,
thing happened to me. Do you want to hear a crazy story?
yeah.
So when I got pregnant with Aaron, which is the baby who is 5, I was pregnant with Aaron when Mario passed away. Mario in January, and Aaron is born in April. Aaron was supposed to be due on April 7th, a day after Mario's birthday, but he made it to the 11th, but that's a different story. But anyways, so when I got pregnant, I looked at Todd and I was telling Todd, I was like, you know what? I was like, somebody's going to die. And he looked at me and he was like, what? I was like, I don't know what it is. I was like, but this baby that I'm pregnant with, it's coming to replace somebody else. And that's me, right? My spirit without, I'm like I said, I've always been intuitive. I've always been, but when I was pregnant, it was a lot higher. Like my psychic abilities and my intuition, everything was so much higher. And I told him that. And he looked at me, he's like, oh, you're crazy. Like, what the heck? Don't say that,
Yeah.
And like days later, like days would pass by, and I would feel like when I would be driving, like right where my brother passed away, I would feel like somebody would hit my car. Like I would feel like I would literally like have to hold on to the steering wheel because I felt like somebody would just like I had to close my eyes because I felt like somebody would just hit my car, like T-bone my car. And I'd be like this, closing my eyes, and I would feel it. So finally, I'm like, oh my God, why am I feeling this way? Like, what is going on? Like, so I stopped coming. When I would come home from work, I stopped getting off on that street because I was like it was just like this feeling that I had. So, long story short, he passed away on that street. He got
Oh,
into a car accident on that street. And when it happened, I was like, holy crap. Like, it was like my intuition, my higher self was like letting me and preparing me for what was about to happen.
Wow.
oh, wow.
So when I was at work that day when my brother passed away, I was at work. And I was doing my work and I was, typing because, I was working, I had an office job and I was, 6 months pregnant or so, going on 7 or 5, I don't remember. It was January. So I remember I was like, okay, I got to go home because I had like this feeling within me like I had to go home. So then all of a sudden, I was like, holy shit. I got up and I was like, Mario's going to die. Like that, like coming quick. Like it was just like, whew. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, why did I think that? Like, why? Like, oh my God. I'm not even that minute when that feeling came in, I started texting my brother, texting. Nothing. He wasn't answering. And I was like, oh my God. I'm like, why do I feel? And it was like this feeling of like, it was like this love, like a melancholy feeling that came over me. Like it was like somebody just came and hugged me and I was crying my eyes out. And I was like, it was this weird feeling. Like I started like holding my belly and I was like, oh my God, like crying to my baby. Cause at the time I thought it was a girl. And I was like, oh my God, my baby girl. Like I was crying. And I was like, man, I'm like, why? So I leave work and I'm like, if I had to like cross like this bridge just to get home, and usually takes like 45 minutes. I don't know how. I probably got there like in 20 minutes. I didn't even pay toll. I just crossed that. I was like, I'm not seriously, I crossed it. I was like, fuck toll. And when I get to my mom's, I was like, Mom, I was like, is Mario here? And she was like, no. She's like, he's not. He's like, but what happened down the street? There's a bunch of ambulance and cops. I was like, I know, I couldn't come through. I was like, I had to go around the back of the streets. And she was like, oh no, he hasn't came home. I shit you not. As soon as I leave my mom's house, I already knew. I already knew that my brother something had happened to my brother. So I called Todd, because Todd, he was a cop at the time. I was like, he has, VIP access to this stuff. So I call him and I'm like, hey, there's an accident down the street from my mom's. I was like, can you come? Can you come and see what's going on? I was like, because I can't get through. And it was his day off. He's like, yeah, I'll be there. So he goes and checks it out. And I'm like, and I told him, I was like, I'm going to be at my mom's outside in the car. I'll wait for you till you get back. I was like, just come to my mom's. He's like, all right. So I'm sitting in the car and I'm like texting my brother, like, hey, where you at? Calling him, blowing him up, nothing. And it wasn't like him. My brother, if he was working, he would pick up the phone, like pick it up. Like he would pick it up. And sure enough, I seen Todd park behind me. And just by when he got out of the car, I knew, I already knew. And
So
Wow.
that's
Yeah.
so traumatic.
Yeah, that's crazy.
yeah, no, I already knew. And when he came out of the car, he was like, I'm sorry. And I'm like, what? He's like, I am so sorry, babe. He's like, the guy that just got into a car accident back there, it's Mario.
Oh my
So did he
God.
pass on the spot, or did he go to the hospital, or like how did
No,
he
he died in impact. So I really don't know all the details to the accident, because I never wanted to know. He does, he knows them, but I still don't ask. I'm not ready for that yet. All I know is that it was raining and the car slid and it turned around onto the opposite lane. And while the car spun, it hit like a parked car. And then there was another car coming like really fast on on this side of the lane, where he got T-boned. That's all. So when he got T-boned, that's all. I mean, I knew about that. It took me back to where the feelings that I was feeling prior to my brother's passing. And it started to feel like, oh my God, like, what the heck? So then going back to what Veronique said, when I was having my brother, I I heard him in my ear. He was like, I love you, Rosie. And I was like, and he would, and like, and I was like, what? And he was like, Roscoe, because he would call me Roscoe. And he was like, Roscoe. And I was like, and I told Todd, I was like, oh my God, my brother's here. I was like, hella in pain, pushing. I was like breaking his arm out. And I was like, oh my God, it's my brother's here. And he was like he didn't even know what to say to me. He was like, that's good. That's good, And I'm like, no, he's here. Like, I heard him. And when Aaron came out, he was supposed to be a girl.
Oh.
But it was a boy.
Oh.
And I was like, they're like, oh, it's a boy. And I'm like, what? I was like, oh my gosh, And it's crazy because my brother's passing, 2 weeks later, I had my sonogram. And they had said it was a boy. They're like, oh, it's a boy. But they had told me it was a girl. So me, I still wanted a girl, because I have boys. I didn't want no girl. I didn't want another boy. I was like, I need a girl in my life. So at the hospital, when they said it was a boy, I was like, oh my gosh. And then when the doctor's like, and then they're like, let's play a game. Let's see how much he weighs. And I was like, he's 5'13". And Todd looked at me. He's like, what? And the only reason I said 5'13" was because my brother weighed at 5'13" when he's a baby. So I was like, oh, it's 5'13". And
2016. Wow.
Yeah.
So crazy.
So, so again, like it was just like everything was preparing me, everything, and I feel like now it's not that I know, you know, like, oh, I know what's gonna happen, or no, it's not. It's just I believe that I've I've given this purpose to assist souls that have gone through what I've gone through, or
Mhm.
gone through challenges that you know that sometimes they're hard to overcome, and I believe that that's my purpose. My purpose is to guide, to help, assist souls. And I'm not even saying humans or somebody or people, I'm saying souls, because we're all here as souls,
Right.
walking this earth, and just, this human experience that we're all experiencing. Because at
So,
the end,
oh,
we're all
sorry.
souls.
So how does it make you feel, I guess, seeing how the world is right now, especially being like a mom and knowing all this and seeing a lot of lost souls, basically? Like,
It's sad. It's sad because I feel that, and it's crazy because I know that I've been talking about this whole, creepy stuff, but when I'm out, and again, my gift, my purpose is I can be out, let's just say at a bar, right? And I start getting this into like these things in my head, and I'm like, oh my God, where are these coming from? Like who needs help here? Does that make sense? It's
mm,
kind of like, and it's crazy. I'm not saying that, and like again, it took me a long time to come and let people know, like, hey, like I can help you. You know what I mean? Like, no, like it's like, okay, who in here needs my help? Because once I can be at somewhere and I start feeling like sad or lonely or depressed or grief, or and I'm like, I already know that those feelings are not mine, because I've already done the work where I know they're not mine. I know it's not me.
mhm.
And I just ask God. I ask God, and I asked, like, okay, like, who is it? Who is it that I need to help here? And 9 out of 10, like, either I bump into them, or I see them, or they come up to me, and they'll be like, I don't know why, but I just had to come up to you, and all of a sudden we're talking, and I'm like, this is the person, or that person leads me to that person. It's crazy. And back to what you're saying, like, I feel like if there's a lot of more people like me, and some are still in the closet because of what people would say, or they don't know how to come out, kind of come out. And I think that, the world would be a better place, more so. But there's a lot of people that I know that they're still not ready. Does that make sense?
Makes sense.
They're not ready. And you can't help everybody, though. That's the thing. Like, you can assist and you can offer, but not everybody takes it. Not everybody's like, yeah, I need help, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
And when you say God, like, are you talking about like like a certain God, religion, or I guess like
So
who do you follow, or like what do you follow?
so for me, I I'm not about religion, right? Like, I'm not talking about I don't just say, oh, I'm Christian or I'm Catholic, or I believe in God. I believe in higher source. I believe in the universe. I believe God is love. I believe God is energy. God is everywhere. It's not just in one religion, because it's like everybody's seeking for God. Everybody seeks for this higher self, but nobody is like, oh, well, it's not God, it's the universe, or it's my higher self, or it's consciousness, or you know, I just it's more with my relation with God. It's like my relation with God. Does that make sense?
Makes sense. Yeah.
It's not a religion. It's not. No, because I can go to church. I mean, I go to church. I go to church and I love my church. But
Where do you
I know
go?
that I go to the crossing.
Oh, okay.
Oh, we went there.
Yeah, I go to the Crossing, amazing church. I love it. But I I don't just say, "Oh, I'm Christian." No, like I'm more than that.
So do you ever have like because you were mentioning how your family, like, it was a big no-no, I guess. Like you know what I'm trying to say? Like, what kind of heat, I guess, would you get? Because if you go to church and you believe in God, like, why would your family be against that? Like, why would they be, or why would there be any negativity surrounding that? I
Well,
guess.
see, here's the thing. Here's the thing. So when I finally came out, everybody, my godmother, right, who I love and adore so much, I came out to her and I was like, so Walter Mercado? Do you know who Walter Mercado is?
Walter Mercado. That sounds familiar.
Yeah, well, anyways, he's like this dude that growing up, he would come out and he would talk about the stars and astrology and the
Oh,
horoscopes.
yeah, does he have big hair?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
he used to do this and yeah.
Channel.
And anyway, so I would, I kind of like brought it up to her in that kind of like funny way. I was
Mhm.
like, hey, Walter Mercado, right? And she was like, yeah, I see him all the time or on the news. He does astrology and stuff. I was like, what do you think of him? She's like, oh, I see him all the time. I love him. And I was just like, oh. And when I basically came out and told her, like, hey, well, this is what I'm into astrology. I'm into tarot reading and, I read people's energies. And she was like, oh, I knew that. And I was like, what? I was like, huh? And I was like, what do you mean? She's like, yeah, ever since you were little, you were weird. Yeah, we know that. And I was like, this whole time, I was like stopping myself from like doing this because I was afraid of like my family, what they would say,
Seriously.
like
So they
I
didn't
was,
really say anything negative. It's just that you assumed that they were.
yes, because they're all
Oh,
Catholic, and you don't do that, and my grandma used to pray every single day, rosary and bless you, and you leave and come back, you sit down, she blesses. I mean,
yeah.
she was like that. My mom, not so much, but it was more so like, I'm like, man, I don't want them to think I'm like this thing, this negative thing walking and, just, but it's not that. It's not, and it was great. And, when people talk about like, oh, so you do witchcraft? I'm like, no, like,
Oh, like,
I don't like people referencing that to this mystic like love that God has for you when it comes to like, because I mean, yeah, there's good and there's bad,
yeah,
like
there's
everything is
witchcraft
evil.
out there. Yeah.
Yeah, everything, but I choose the light. I choose to walk with God, universe, love, and when people are like, oh, you know, tarot reading is this and that, it's how you use it, it's how you use it. I use it more for like, for teaching. I don't use it to like, oh, well, you better not, you got to do this or you know what I mean? Like, no, like, oh, you got to pay me $500 because so and so is going to come after you. You know what I mean? Like, I don't.
Mhm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I don't do that. Um, but there is bad. I mean, I could tell you that. I mean, there's people with ill intentions, and just with the ill intention, that's all you need. So, but
So what would you say, and this, like, what would you say to someone who doesn't believe in God? Let's just say you have a client and they're like, "Oh, well, I don't believe in that."
but they believe in universe. Does that make sense? So it's like, oh, I don't believe in God, but I believe in the universe. Okay, then whatever you believe in, right? You believe in the universe, that's fine, because at the end of the day, it's everything it's all around us is universe and God, right? But for me, I don't try to push religion to my clients. I don't try pushing, you know, whatever makes them comfortable,
Yeah.
whatever they want to go ahead and use for themselves. That's up to them because at the end of the day, it's all the intention that is behind it.
Yeah.
So,
That's so true. That's so
yeah.
true.
So,
And then, like, who are your clients? Like, who do you help as far as clients?
So right now it's mostly women. Right now it's mostly women. I've had some couple guys that hopped on my DMs and but they're I don't know.
Do you think that's because men are
Uh,
with like being vulnerable and with their emotions?
I'm sorry.
Do you think it's because men are like sometimes harder with their vulnerability with grief, especially?
Yes. Guys don't need therapy. Guys don't need anything. Guys got it. Guys can handle it on their own. They're good. They're good to go. I don't need anything. I'm good. Yeah. And women, we have to, with us, if we're not okay, our kids are not okay. Our husband's not okay.
Yeah.
Our mom, our sisters, our friends are not okay because we have to be okay. So we know the responsibility that it takes for us women, for us to be okay and to be, recharged and energized and fueled with God's love and presence, because if we don't have that, how are we going to give it to them?
Yeah, it's true. And
So
I do think men still like I know when he got his grief counseling and then when he has done his healing, I know it released a lot from him because men feel like they have to have this strong, like ego and like
yeah.
and then it felt like a lift kind of went off because he was able to grieve and cry instead of being like, oh, men can't cry. You know what I mean? He was like, oh, I was able to release all that. Right?
Yeah,
And how did you feel when that happened?
I felt lighter.
Yeah?
I'll say lighter is a word.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I think lighter is a word. More like, I
Have
guess,
you
choosing myself too.
have you had Reiki done?
No. Mm-mm.
You need some Reiki sessions.
Mm.
Yeah, you should look into that Reiki. I have a great Reiki healer. He's amazing. He's a dude, but yeah, he's good. He's good.
Sure. So what would you say to men who are not into or against therapy
Therapy
or
or
grief
grief
coaching?
but you know that they are hurting and they need to like
Um, I think that a lot of men, they confuse their masculine energy with, you know, macho energy. Does that make sense? Like they're like, "Oh no, I don't need it. I don't want it. I'm good." But some like for instance, like when just by DMing me and letting me know what's going on, I can already feel their energy. They're not in their feminine energy. They're not ready. They're still in their masculine energy, and some are still like in their macho energy where it's like, no, I don't want, they just want to take me out for coffee or something. I don't know. But what I'm saying is like, in order for somebody to step up and be like, I'm ready, they have to basically like do the work. Does that make sense? They have to do the work themselves and be like, okay, I'm ready. And when you're not ready, I myself tell you, you're not ready. I don't force it onto them and be like, oh no, you're ready. Oh, just call me. We can talk and I'll help you. I'll help you get. No, because and that's one of the things that I do with my 15-minute sessions, my sessions that I do, my consultations when I talk to them. That is the reason why I have that 15-minute session, because that is where I get to know them to see if we both are aligned to where I can work with them. Because if I sense that they're not ready, I'll let them know and tell them myself, like, you're not ready.
like they
You're
need
not
to want the healing. They need to want to learn the skills.
exactly. And I tell them like, you're not ready. And so to answer your question, like, I don't tell them like, oh, you're ready. No. And the thing is for instance, I'm gonna tell you one. So this guy, had just gone through a divorce. Sorry.
It's okay.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Okay. Hold on. Hello? Hello? Oh, shit. Mm.
Should we stop the recording? You think, or
Yeah. No, I mean my phone rang and it came onto my phone. Hold on.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay, hold on. Can you see me now? Or
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
we can see the whole time. Yeah.
no? Okay.
Your makeup is really nice.
Oh, thank you. I'm like, oh, I didn't even, girl. I was like, man, you should have seen me earlier.
That's how we moms do it, you know. We're like 5 minutes.
I know. How do I go back? It's not letting me.
Can
You
you?
don't see us?
You don't see us?
No.
Oh,
Can you
we
see me?
Yeah, we see you perfect.
Okay, hold on. Oh my god, dude. How do you do it? I can't.
Uh,
Hold on. Okay, wait. Okay. Wait, nope. How can I see? You can't see me. I can't even see you guys.
oh, we can see you.
Um, where are you guys at? Okay, hold on. Okay, there you go. Sorry.
See.
I think I got
Yeah.
frozen. I was like moving. I was like, what? No, but yeah. So going back to it. So he was going through a divorce, right? He was going through a divorce, and basically he wanted a tarot reading. He wanted a tarot reading session. So I agreed. I was like, okay. I sent him my link. You know, he went ahead and paid, and we connected or whatever. And when the questions that he was asking me to go ahead and find out through the reading, I had to shut down the reading quick because I was like, you know what, I'm grateful that you reached out for this reading, as but because of the questions that you're asking me, I was like, I cannot proceed with this reading anymore. He's like, well, I just paid you. And I was like, I understand that. I was like, but I have ethics and I have, morals. I was like, and I'm not about to keep going with this reading. So to the point where he was so upset, he started crying. He was upset. He was crying because he was desperate. So once I was able to get in touch with his energy and get in touch to what the real questions were that he was needing for me to answer or for me to help him with, it was like that click where he was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Like, I totally get you. I apologize. And I was like, okay, like, are you ready? Because whoever was talking to me was not you. Does that make sense? It wasn't you. So
the other
let's
side.
go back. I was like, let's go back. I was like, and now let's take a deep breath, and that's how I make rapport with my clients. I'm like, take a deep breath. And I center them and I ground them. Finally, he was like, oh, girl, he was on his feminine energy like within 15 seconds. Like he was like crying, he was laughing, he was giggling. But I had to get to that point where I was like, let's just say I could have been another tarot reader, which there's a lot. And I could have been like, oh yeah, boom, boom, boom. Does that make sense? Like I wasn't helping him. If anything, I was going to tell him what he wanted to hear. Does that make sense?
Worse, basically.
Yeah.
Just for money. A lot of people
exactly. Well, and that's the thing about a lot of tarot readers who are amazing at what they do. And there's some that they give us a bad name. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So within 15 seconds, he was like laughing, giggling in his feminine energy. He was like, he started like glowing because it was a different energy that he came in with.
Okay.
And, and it's happened to where, nope, sorry, can't do it. So, bye. But that's my boundaries because I have to have boundaries, because if I don't, this work is very draining. It's draining. So I take on a lot of energies of people that I talk to. And I don't know if you've noticed, but sometimes I have to like detach myself from social media, because even by being on social media and just interacting with people, like I pick up on their energies and I start getting stuff like downloads, and I'm like, I can't do this. I have to stop.
Yeah, there's a lot of negativity on social media today. A lot of fakeness, a lot of,
Yeah.
well, I even myself have to detach myself. Like, I just don't want to watch it. Like, I just watch goat or cow videos because I like farm animals. I'd rather watch that than people. Like, because I don't want to.
Oh my god, that's the first time I just watched cow videos.
Yeah, I love cow videos. They're so
You know
cute.
what? I watch kitty videos. I've been wanting a cat for so long, but everybody's allergic in this house. Like, God, everybody. I think I told you that the other day.
Yeah,
I want a cat. I've been wanting, needing, yearning for a cat, but nope, can't do it. I was like, I just want, like, let's just get a hairless cat.
Yeah, the one that was in Austin Powers, right?
Yeah,
The,
they're
the,
no, they're creepy.
the one with no
Like,
hair, but they need love
yes,
too.
yes. I'm like, I want a cat,
There
but
you
yeah, no, but yeah, no, I love what I do. I love what I do, and it's taking me a long time to actually say that, because it took me a while to basically come out of the closet with what I do. And because again, I was afraid of, the what would people say, the judgment, the fear was one of them. And I think that watching your guys' videos with the limited beliefs and stuff, it took me back to where fear
go.
was one of them. And I was so afraid of coming out and talking to people and searching for what I needed, because I searched for the Reiki healings and the hypno sessions and the tarot readings and um but then I was like, you know what, like, no, like, God does not instill fear in us. Does that make, like, I was like, no, God doesn't instill that spirit of fear. Like, God gives us the courage to step up to our purpose. Like, God doesn't give us fear. God is not fear. God is love.
Yeah.
And and I it took me a long time to say that, but I'm so happy that I've gone through what I've gone through, because it's brought me to where I am today. Like, it's brought me to where I live today, who my friends are today, and I mean, it's been a journey. It's definitely been a journey. And I am so grateful. And every morning when I wake up, it's a process. Like Todd says, waking up is a process for you. And I'm like, yeah, it is. Because I wake up and I stretch and I say my affirmations. And I'm like, and he's like, man, waking up with you is a process. I'm like, yeah. He'll wake up, he takes a shower, he goes, and I'm still like waking up and I'm still like doing my yoga. I'm still stretching. I'm doing everything. He's like, okay, well, I'll see you in 2 hours. But that is my time. That is
Yeah.
me. Because if I don't do that for myself, like, my day goes by quick. I don't know if you guys do that, but
Oh, yeah.
when you're on like your thing, like, if you don't do what you need to do, like, you feel out of game. Like, you feel like you're not in it, and like in the day, like, you're just, oh man, I didn't meditate today. Jesus, why do I feel like this? Because I didn't meditate today. I didn't journal today. And journaling has been one of the things that's helped me a lot too, with everything. Just write. I don't just whatever I'm thinking, whatever, I just write it down, and it's helped me. So
Yeah, why is there a stigma with, tarot reading and I guess Reiki and, spiritual healing?
you know what? I don't know. Maybe because it's in the Bible. you know, I mean, it's in the Bible, I guess, because it's like, divination and tarot readings and fortune tellers. It's bad, right? But the way I feel is like, I don't if like I said, there's bad and there's good, right? There's not, it's either if I use it to serve God or to serve my purpose, then I'm doing why would I have those gifts if God wouldn't want me to use them? Right? Why would God put me in places and situations time after time where there's a person there that needs my help, and all of a sudden I meet them, and I'm like, you're the person that I had to meet. Like, there's, like I said, there's good and there's bad, and there's evil and there's good. There's God and there's a devil. So I mean, I think because of that, I mean, I believe so, that's because of it. But yeah, I again, like, there's a purpose, right? And I wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't my purpose. I don't think God would have been tugging at me for so long if it wasn't my purpose. Because if it's your purpose, you feel a tug every single day. Like, I need to do this. I need to do that. I have to. Like, your guys' purpose is to teach, to educate, right? To bring people together, to network. And when you guys don't do it, I'm sure you're like, oh, you feel a tug, like, oh, like, I got to do this. I have to do this, because that's that's your purpose. And that's how that's how it feels. And that's for anybody that's listening to this. If you take something from this conversation, is that when it's your purpose and you're meant to do something, you're always going to think about it and feel that you have to do it. Even if you ignore it, even if you ignore for a year or 2 or 3 or 4, it's always going to come back. Once it comes back, and it's a vision, because it's your vision, it's nobody else's, it's yours. If it keeps coming into your head over and over, over and over, it's because it's for you and nobody else.
Makes sense. So why, like, what would you call this supernatural power that you have?
Supernatural
Or,
power.
or I guess gift.
A gift. Okay, yeah. I was like, I can actually disappear. No. One of the, and it's a curse, right? It's a good and it's a bad, and it's good, and it's, people say, oh my God, that's a gift, and oh my God, yeah, it could be a gift, but it also is a curse, because when the intuition comes and the feeling comes, like, there's no way around it. Like, you're gonna have to wait and sit down and see where it comes. Like, one, for instance, one that just happened just recently. My godfather passed away, August 27th of this year.
Right.
And it has been really hard, because he was like a father to me. He was like my father. He was like, because my dad passed away when I was 7 at a very young age. So he and my godmother were always there. When my mom was going through it emotionally, when my dad passed away, and, just in general, like, they were always there. They were always taking care of me. And one of the things that I went ahead and took when he passed away was, I felt the day, couple days, or like a couple days or something, like, I started feeling this feeling like, oh, like, I need to go visit them. I need to go visit them. And Ivan, my son, he had an audition out in LA, and I went ahead and hold on just one sec. I'm sorry. Hold on.
It's all good.
Where's your dad? Go over there.
Your parent life.
Parent life.
Sorry, it was a baby. He was
Is
like,
it-
yeah. I was like, where's your dad? Go with your dad.
This like interview setting is that we can be real, right?
Yeah, we want, like,
It's not
parents
scripted.
who are watching to know that this, like, doing stuff like this is never perfect. Like, you got kids yelling, you got your kids yelling.
Okay, then yeah, he was knocking and he wants a snack, and his dad is sitting on the couch when he can ask him. Why is he coming to ask me? Jesus.
Come on, my boy. My boy got to work. What does he do? Watching a Laker game or something? Or?
Hey man, text your boy right now. Be like, yo, I'm doing a podcast. No, so anyway, so I started feeling this feeling like I need to go visit him. I need to go visit him. Or I need to go visit my godparents. And Ivan's audition came in and he did it and he got the job. So we went out to LA. And I saw my godfather and he wasn't doing really good. And as every time that I would go visit, we would go visit, he was so welcoming and he's hospitable and whatever we want to eat, wherever we want to do, like it's just, with the kids. But it wasn't him he wasn't doing that. And I noticed that he was sick. So when I got near him, I felt this like weird feeling and I'm like, oh my God, like no, like, and I kind of like felt it, right?
Yeah.
So I asked him, I was like, do you want to go to the doctors? I'm like, do you feel okay? He's like, no, I don't want to go to the doctors. Like, people die there. And I was like, okay, well, because he was a jokester like that. He wouldn't want to go to the doctors. Like, no doctors, no needles, no pills, nothing. Like he was. So anyways, we said our byes. And when I was leaving, I gave him a hug. And when I gave him a hug, I knew it was going to be the last hug. Intuitively, emotionally, like I felt it. And I was like, and the crazy thing was when I was hugging him, he pushed me away. The minute that I started having that feeling, he pushed me away. And I was like, oh, like he probably felt it too, like he felt like something. And when I hugged him, he hugged me. He felt it. I felt it. He pushed me away. He was like, no. And, a month later, he passes away.
Oh, wow.
And I told Todd that night when I told him, I was like, I need to go visit I called him Nino. I was like, I need to go visit my Nino. And he was like, why? I was like, because he's going to die. And he looked at me again, like the same, and he's like, why do you say that? And I'm like, because I can feel it. Like I have to go. So when he did pass away, he passed away on Aiden's birthday, on our son's birthday. I called him that morning and I was like, hey, like he passed away. And he was like, what?
That's crazy.
God. Yeah. So going back to your question, like, what do I think my gifts are? I sense stuff, I sense, it's all intuitively. And some it's just like they just come like quick and I have to like figure it out, like, okay, where is it coming from? Like what's gonna happen? And some are not bad. I mean, not all the time are bad, but most of the time they're kind of bad. But and it's a way of preparing me, I guess. I don't know why. And I can go back to more stories, and it's crazy because like when I like what I said to my godmother, I'm like, oh yeah, we've known this, like you've been weird since day one, and I was like, oh okay. But yeah, I can tell you stories after stories. But see, this is another thing. When you don't know what your gift is, especially like the one that I have, you think you're crazy. You think like, oh my God, like where are these feelings coming from? Because when I was little, mind you, I've had it since I was little. So when we would go to parties or birthday parties or this or that, I would feel people's energies and I would get like, I would talk back. I was angry. I was, and I would come home and bring those energies back. And my mom would be like, what is wrong with you? Like, what that, now that I'm older, I'm like, when I started feeling, I'm like, oh my God, like, this is what it is. Like, I was so misunderstood growing up. I was so misunderstood. And, I tell my mom now and she's like, well, okay. Like, I didn't know, like, I didn't know you were weird, but I was so misunderstood because at a young age, when I obviously as a empath and as an energy reader, like you start reading energies at a young age. Like you start like your purpose prepares you. It starts preparing you. Like, you know, and it's always, at the right time. Well, divine timing, as they say, right? And it's like it just comes, and um it's crazy because like my clients, like when I do readings and stuff, and I have a lot of clients, and a lot of my clients always return. They return because they're just like, oh my gosh, like you told me this was going to happen, and sure enough it happened, and oh my god. And and some call me like, why did you tell me that it happened? I'm like, well, that's what I saw. But you know but for the most part, I love my clients and they love me, and we have a relationship, and so
Love it.
I love it.
So for our audience, where can they follow you? Instagram? You have like a page or?
yeah. So on Instagram, it's Rozayelle. And they can follow me, they can DM me, they can have my link on there to schedule their readings. And DMs, I always take DM. I'm always talking to my clients, or just potential clients, or just in general. Like,
Nice. And you can help them with what, like specific topics or issues?
I think grief, right?
So I'm a grief coach. I'm a manifestation coach, intuitive, tarot, energy readings, hypnotherapy. I specialize in hypnotherapy as well. Emotional freedom tapping, and timeline techniques. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, and past life regression. So
Okay.
Love that.
I love it.
Yeah. Thanks, Rosie, for being here tonight.
Yeah, thank you for having me, guys. Sorry for the bargains and
No.
all of that. You guys, yeah, no, I had a blast. Thank you so much.
Yeah, super busy with your family, so I'll let you go.
No, yeah. Can you hear the baby? He's like yelling out there. But yeah.
Oh, really? Yeah, yeah. All right, guys. Thank you guys for like watching the show, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
Yes. Bye. Thank you for having me.